Greetings in the divine name of His Imperial Majesty Emperor Haile Selassie the First, King Alpha, and I Divine Mother Empress Benin Queen Omega, and I the children of Jah Rastafari, representing for the Ankh Nation family, popularly known as Africa. Let the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be accepted by an eyesight, O Jah. Greetings ones and ones. Give thanks again for lending ears so I can articulate Rastafari. Now this word Sonia I must say, it was a bit surprising to I and I. When I and I come, I go through the YouTube space and book up Dr. Ben, the great Dr. Ben, one of our esteemed scholars. Never call him great, one of our esteemed scholars. Can put in the work as far as kicking black knowledge. But I never know say Dr. Ben was a propagandist against the king, His Majesty Emperor Haile Selassie the First. I never know that until I come across this video here. So first and foremost, I go exercise the fair use class on YouTube. Cause I come across this sound here with this First World TV. And that's where I get it from. So here goes. This is how it goes.
The point is that Ras McConnell, his father, was the cousin to Emperor Menelik II, Abdul Hakim II, famed Menelik of the Battle of Adawa. Tansi was only a third cousin to Menelik the Emperor, had no right to the throne in terms of success. There were about 8 people before him to take that throne. But
what I must say, His Majesty is supposed to rule. He wasn't supposed to be the emperor because 8 people before the king.
Any member of the royal family doesn't have to be his son or anything that. His daughter Zadito was supposed to be the heir and succession in time of order. He bypassed her melody and named his grandson Zadito's child. His name Lejasu.
Now that right is the first lie that Dr. Ben tell. Zadito is not the mother of Lejasu. Lejasu mother name is Shorega Menelik, and she's the daughter of Emperor Menelik II. So that's the first lie Dr. Ben tell. So I could continue listen to it.
Lidj, one name Yasu. Selassie and Abuna Johannes, Abuna is the head of the church, the Coptic church at the time. He and Abuna Johannes conspired with the French and the British to overthrow Yasu because Yasu wanted to unify Ethiopia. Ethiopia was fighting the Jews, the Christians, the Muslims, was killing out each other every day.
No, that right is again Dr. Ben now misleading information. Lejasu, after his grandfather named him as to become the emperor, him decided he was trying to turn the Christian kingdom of Ethiopia into a Muslim state, and the church plus the monarchy rise up against him and them overthrow him. And this is how Zadito end up becoming Empress Zadito, because His Majesty went to war against Lejasu and defeat him and put Zadito upon the throne. Now they must spread the propaganda like if His Majesty was trying to usurp. When him defeat Lejasu, the perfect opportunity was there for him to take over completely. But him install Zadito, you know what I mean? So she can ascend to her grandfather's throne and become Empress Zadito. So once again, these propagandists against His Majesty. So I have to stand tall upon the thing, you know, because a Rastafari I say, and I have to defend the thing. So we have to use truth and right information for correct lies. You know what I mean? And this is a thing where I recognize where it's very prevalent a whole heap of anti-Rasta propagandists about here. I try to dissuade I and I from hailing the king and also declaring Rastafari. Then again, it's not them a try dissuade I and I from hailing say Rastafari. Them a try dissuade I and I from extolling the king. And that are the campaign may I recognize with these anti-Rasta within Rasta.
And Yassu wanted to stop that and go back because he wanted it what his grandfather had organized to overthrow the Europeans out of the place, like his father had his grandfather tried to do at the Battle of Adawa.
You hear him a stutter, cause make him make up things, you know. Now, when you talk about try to show to European, Menelek, because when you have to know your story, you say Menelek was a shrew, and before a ras, before he becomes an emperor. And him, you have to go look a bit further in the Ethiopian history. Emperor Tuerdos, Menelek, and Johannes. These are three emperors' names I just call now. Tuerdos, they fight against the English. And the Menelek, Johannes side with the British and defeat Emperor Tuerdos. Menelek abstain and watch it play out. And then after when Johannes died, Menelek took over. But at the same time, Menelek did the arms deal and gather ammunition. Because he did prepare for war with Johannes, but Johannes dead on the battlefield in Sudan and fight the Mahdist them, that are the Islamic them from out of Sudan, from encroaching upon Ethiopia. So this Emperor Johannes the fourth lose him life on the battlefield. And that's how Menelek now take over and becomes emperor. And Menelek now was very much in relation with Europeans, the German them, the Russian them, the Italians them, and even the British, because Menelek was trying to modernize Ethiopia and also collect arms. And this is where now when the Italians them now decide that they want to take Ethiopia, them never know that Menelek was well armed, and also Menelek as a European advisor named Albert Ilk, where him come from Scandinavia, one of them Scandinavian country them. And him come now, a matter of fact, Sweden come from. And him go in Europe and get a kind making machine and then bring it back in Ethiopia and convert it to a bullet making machine. The Italians them never know this. So them decide to come now with the treaty of Wukali, when Menelek signed with them. They misrepresent the Ethiopian position and say no, them responsible Ethiopian when Empress Taitu find out. She tell Menelek say yo them for lift up and run them well. And she declared them not forget 1 inch of Ethiopia. And I saw the Battle of Adwa commence. And I saw the Ethiopian them destroy the Italian them. And hence brought forward now when them come back in 1936 to destroy, to take over back Ethiopia under the rulership of His Majesty. So you have to know your story. And when Dr. Ben spread a propagandist and a mislead and a tell lie. But I will continue listening to him. Because you have to know your story, and that's why I and I depend this space here for all of uno. Propagandists who want to come tell lie on Rastafari and misrepresent Rastafari and mislead Rastafari children.
In 1896, they overthrow Yassu, put him in a dungeon with escape.
Like I say again, His Majesty defeat Yassu, but him could have killed him. But the king arrest him and lock him up. And then have him on a house arrest. You see me I come from and him continue to try to instigate while on a house arrest. And eventually him sick and dead, but them spread propaganda again and I say the king killed Yassu. And this happened while the second Italian war when His Majesty fight against the Italian them. So that right again is another propaganda by Dr. Ben, misleading lies.
The British and the French went out to find Yassu. They did and turned him back to Selassie, who was supposed to be taking care after Selassie and Abuna had poisoned his mother, Zeta.
You hear him Zadada. PLIM10. Can't pronounce a woman name proper. Zadito. You make Dr. Ben there, you make up story upon the king. And I misrepresent. But nonetheless, the Empress, after His Majesty instated her upon the throne, and after a time, her husband now, named Ras Guksawela, him decide now because the Empress sick too, because he suffer from asthma, and him now have ambitions, so he want to take the throne from His Majesty. A matter of fact, not from His Majesty, because His Majesty was already named Ras, King, Negos, he have the title of Negos. Guksawela want the emperorship, and being by virtue of him being husband to Zadito, put him in a position. So he might try to take it by brute force. And end up His Majesty got to war with him, and His Majesty him dead on the battlefield. And not shortly after that now, Zadito end up died. The propagandists them try to spread rumors that the king killed Zadito. But the official report says she died from what that sickness there? Thyroid. She had thyroid and diabetes. Something about thyroid and diabetes. And that them say kill her. But the rumor, you know, the propagandists against the king has spread the rumor said the king kill her. So I saw it go.
When they got him back in the hand, they put him in a dungeon and put a 24-hour guard on him. And he died there in his feet. Selassie then took over, he and Abuna Johannes. And in 1900, that's to 1924, in 1927, they usurped the throne, naming Selassie as the emperor. It is nothing special about Selassie because she, Makeda, named her son the Lion of Judah. All emperors of Ethiopia from that time carried the name Lion of Judah. It was a big deal. He just carried the name that others were carrying. Now as to legitimacy, he had no legitimacy. He took the throne by killing both Zadita and her son, the Jasu. As a matter of fact,
like I say again, he might go spill his belly now. He hear him vendetta.
That's why I am in the West. My father was working for the Jasu in Brazil as the Consul General. In 1924, we were sent there. Shortly after he went there is when the first overthrow came. And then if anybody that was called back home and working for the Jasu was hanged. My father didn't want to be a dead patriot. And so he went back to Puerto Rico with my mother.
Alright, so now we have the fullness now. Because his father was working with Lygia Soto. So when His Majesty, when Lygia Soto got defeated, his father get fearful and couldn't return back to Ethiopia. So at that now, he might keep Dr. Ben carry belly for His Majesty. So you never see smoke without fire. So once again, when I see these propagandists and people are repeat these people's storyline on YouTube, you have to go to the source and find out what is the real deal. And the real deal is that Dr. Ben's father did a work for Lygia, so that means that he must part of the traitorous regime who are trying to turn Ethiopia into Muslim, and that's how Lygia got dethroned and end up in a prison. And they must say, if His Majesty was trying to usurp the emperorship, he have too many opportunities, space, time and opportunity to do it because he was very powerful, and him have the trust of the church, because the church is one of the powerful entities behind the emperorship or the throne, along with the other races them and warlords them. And you can't become an emperor without the sanctioning of the warlord and the church. So therefore, when they spread propaganda, His Majesty been have the, let's say, him have the power, him have the people them, the support of the people them. But when him defeat Lygia, so him elevate, install Zadit up on the throne until when she gets sick, and her husband try to usurp because them did not get His Majesty was getting too powerful for them. And intrigue, them a try to get rid of the king. Because them not try to prevent the king from becoming, which he actually did eventually, Emperor Haile Selassie I. Jah Rastafari. So, like I say, this word Sonia is in relation to, because like I say, when it's surprised when you know say Dr. Ben was part of the propaganda machine against His Majesty. But now, playing this video, I articulate the position of Rastafari and show that Dr. Ben is a liar. He's one of our esteemed scholars, but nonetheless he's a liar. And the reason why I'm going to tell lie against His Majesty, because he might try slander the king name because I'm father. Because his father was part of the traitorous regime of Lijiasu. So therefore his father is a traitor too. And this why his father run and come back and Ethiopia because he never want to face punishment. He in a collusion with Lijiasu. And that is a real hatred for Dr. Ben against His Majesty. And this is why when they on the platform I try to spread the propaganda. But anyway, like I say, I think I dealt with that sufficient enough. And when I go draw it out no more. Once again, know that Rastafari is yours. None never gave it to you. Jah Rastafari without apology. Seal.